next game is the biggest game of the season. Is there a little bit more on the line because of where these teams are in the standings? You knew that was coming.
You tried to use my words, though. That's the next game is the biggest game of the season, so you already answered the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I get the realization of we're at the top of the standings, and I don't take for granted that we're in a race for a conference championship. Like that's significant. It's really hard to do. And the sustained success that our program has experienced is because of a lot of hard work from some players and our assistant coaching staff that I think has been emulated by Kennesaw's situation. I think Amir and his staff have done an unbelievable job. I mean, if you look at their team 3 years ago with Burden, Spencer, Youngblood, Stroud, Robinson, like that whole core group has stayed. They got to play when they were young and didn't know what it took on a championship level, but you could just tell this program has been getting better since we've been competing with them. So I'm not surprised. Amir is a terrific individual and a really good coach. Like they run great stuff. They're really sound defensively. This will be a great challenge for us, and excited that we're afforded an opportunity to play in a game that is as significant.
You talked about the sustained success that your program's had over the years, and due to that, this isn't necessarily the first, quote unquote, big game you guys have been in, and do you think that the players can kind of rest or go back to some of those previous big games that they've had in the regular season, even postseason, as they prepare for Thursday?
Yeah, it's a good question, John. I've thought about that. I just think every game is its own entity or is an entity in itself, and I don't know. I would think that our experience and the fact that we've had a few games that had a great deal of anticipation for them, that we'd handle it right. But look, Kennesaw's a lot older than us. I mean, I don't know what they are. I forgot to check the Ken Palm what they are in age, but I bet it's older than us by 30, 40, 50 spots. And we play a freshman point guard, and Zach Cleveland gets significant minutes. So I don't know where the advantage lies, other than they play at home, and it's the only game we play. So I think we'll have to earn it if we end up taking the lead.
Do you see any similarities to how Amir has built that program there through keeping a core group together and just keep building on the foundation compared to where you got here and how you had to do the same thing, core group, just build on foundation year after year?
Yeah, look, Georgie and Lavelle and Caleb and Scotty, they got to play when we were just okay. We were finding our way. And as I alluded to earlier, those guys have gotten to play and see what it's like to try and earn a championship. But if you look at their non-conference schedule, man, they were in every game. Like they watched the Indiana game the other night. That could have very easily. Kennesaw is a very good team, and I think the better competition that you have to play in your league prepares you for postseason. I've just been around it enough to believe that. And it's hard, but like, guys, you all know this, and in our own individual lives, Monty Williams says it best. On the other side of hard is usually what you want. So I think it's good for us to be challenged, and we were challenged certainly last week, so I feel like we grew a little bit.
As a competitor, you're a little disappointed that you guys only get to play once this year, and maybe more disappointed that one game's on the road.
Sometimes when there's an imbalanced schedule, you get the wrong side of what you think would be equitable. Yet it's beyond our control, so I'm trying to make sure I stay away from things that I can't control. But yeah, there's obviously an advantage if the one game you get is at home. But if it would have been like everybody thought, maybe it's FGCU, whatever, we would have played that game at home, and I'm sure Coach Chambers would have felt the same way. it just is what it is, and can't do anything about it. So let's see if we can't give it our best.
I know you made.
No, Nick. Again, good teams are good teams, and coming into Liberty Arena is tough to get the desired outcome. But that's true in most of college basketball. Hard to win on the road. I mean, Purdue's the #1 team in the country, and I watched the Northwestern game, and they're up 5 with about 4:10 to go, and maybe it was 7, and they lost the game. So I just think that's the nature of the beast, and it'll prepare you regardless. But hoping that we'll accept the challenge, and again, we know it's going to be difficult. No one's beating them there at home, and I'm sure they'll have a raucous crowd.
I know you brought up in the summer about how difficult it was to get that schedule put together for non-conference, but the fact that Alabama is the #1 team in the nation, you played well with Northwestern, and that graphic appeared during Sunday's broadcast that a win over you guys was quad 1 win for them, plus Oral Roberts. How much is that non-conference schedule and playing 2 teams on the road, 1 team neutral has prepared the guys so that way Thursday isn't too big of a deal for them?
Well, it's a big deal because it's a game that is gonna give one team the lead in the conference championship race. Bill, I don't know, did you do the records of our non-conference opponents? Remember what it was?
50-2 right now for those 4 teams that you've lost to.
That's at home, but I think the overall record was wasn't like 89-12 or something. So, again, I remember hearing some noise about the non-conference schedule and how we don't have this and that, and that's why you just, and I wish I could take credit for it. We just tried to play whomever would play us. Again, most people don't follow as closely as you guys, but this will not change. Teams are trying to get quad 1s and quad 4s. They can get quad 1s in their leagues, the high majors, and they're trying to get quad 4s because you have you're least likely to lose to them. Quad 2s and quad 3s, which there's about 20 to 24 conferences that will reside in that pool. It's really hard, and that's just college basketball. So you ask about an 80 or 96 team tournament, absolutely. Otherwise, the mid level it's gonna be like this. I'm surprised you haven't written about it, but is it written or wrote?
Written.
I think going into Kennesaw, I don't know where our net's 47, and I don't know how many mids. If you don't count the Mountain West as a mid, and I'm talking about other 1 bid leagues, and they're going to get at least 3. Who's ahead of us? Oral Roberts?
Maybe Oral Roberts is below you.
Oral Roberts or FAU. So, but we're nowhere to be found on the at-large conversation or anything like that. And the only way we would have been is if we would have beaten Alabama at Alabama, or Oral Roberts or Oral Roberts, maybe Northwestern on a neutral. Those were the only chances we got. So, boy, if that boils down to the 3 games that you get in the non-conference to get in that largest, I'm telling you, that makes it really difficult. And because of your success, your fan base has an expectation, granted, I get it, of we should be in the NCAA tournament. Well, there's 0 margin for error in starting February 27th. That makes it challenging. So I hope our guys continue to keep their identity and who they are, and not just in making the tournament, because I think that pressure can be crippling. But I hope we expand the tournament sometime soon.
You count the West Coast Conference as a mid-major?
Multiple bid league. St. Mary's and Gonzaga are in.
Yeah. Mountain West has 4 in the top 50.
Yeah.
So you got scheduled schools like Oral Roberts and Southern Miss and some schools that it would seem like fit that quad 2, quad 3 range. Is that something that whether it's Liberty or other schools in that group, is the juice worth the squeeze for that to become a normal thing where those schools play each other more often in non-conference play?
Eddie, I wish you could predict it, but I didn't know Southern Miss was going to be a quad 2 or 1. I didn't. They're having a great year, so that was just luck. Knew Alabama would be good. Knew Oral Roberts would be good, and I'm not exaggerating. There's 70 other schools that we tried that wouldn't play us. So everyone says, "Hey, why don't we get some more locals?" We've tried, and I'm not saying people are ducking us. I'm not insinuating that. I'm just saying, for whatever reason, it's probably a lot to do with Darius McGee. It's been really tough to schedule, and I won't say tough. It's been nightmarish to try and get a non-conference schedule that achieves what we're hoping to achieve. Really good home games for our fan base, not having to go on the road and get bought for however many games, but have a competitive enough schedule on the road that gives us a chance to be prepared for what will be an extremely competitive Conference USA schedule. So that's our goal, that's our pursuit, and I've had a few calls from mid-major coaches that ask what was our scheduling plan because of how high our metrics are, but I think some of that is luck of the draw and unpredictable.
Back to Kennesaw, how impressed have you been with what Burton's been able to do this year?
Yeah, he's an all-conference player. Young blood. They have really good players. He's a tough guard. He's physically tough. He's got an extreme amount of confidence. They believe in him, and he puts a lot of pressure on your defense. What makes him really special? He's got a lot of good players around him because they can stretch you. Jennings, Youngblood, Spencer, Brandon's way better. And then they can throw it into the post and get interior points. So it'll challenge our defense. I've been really impressed with them, but I've taken a peek at them the last 2 or 3 weeks, and even early in the conference season when I saw some of their scores. I really love what they're doing.
Grind of the season and all that you're pouring into each and every game, all that. Are you able to enjoy this? Like, are you able to appreciate? Like, everybody wants to be in a race this time of year where every game means something and to be competing for the top spot in the conference. You're in it. Are you able to appreciate it, or as a coach, is that just out of the question?
Yeah, it's a great question. And full disclosure, I love being around our guys. So I'm able to enjoy it, especially when we get to see the little miracles that God does throughout our day. But I'm really competitive, and I quickly get to the next game. And I think that's true for our profession. Like, yeah, you want to enjoy it, but you also feel an obligation to best prepare your team and staff for what's next. And I think we're all wired that way as coaches. But again, I think this is a special place, and to have a chance to, again, compete for a championship and be in that race with 2 weeks to go is what you want, and I'm really grateful for it. All right. Any other? Nick, Emily? Yeah, good question. I think it has a lot to do with their age and experience. I don't think they're easily rattled. I don't think they're ever out of the game because they can be really explosive offensively. They're long, athletic, and turn you over defensively with their intensity, and they have a plan. They keep you off balance. So zone you some, press you some. So I don't think they're ever out of a game. And I think the close games that they have, I think their maturity and experience they've just outlasted people. So again, I hope we can overcome that on Thursday.